What's up, guys? Come on in. Welcome to Dugout Glass Studio. My shopmate, Patty D.
Hey.
Patty D Glass, melting away, melting our hearts. Over here is where the magic happens. This is my workbench over here. We've got complete with full medieval set tools. Got some stuff we're working on here. Well, yeah, here, let me show you around a little bit. Over here we have our guest bench. Currently it's color storage and mock-up studio. A couple of collaborations that Patty and I worked on. Some of these teapot series that I have going on using her color palette. So I went for the whole Americana baseball vibe. I love baseball, played it growing up. You'll notice a lot of different baseball related jargon over here, different themes. Not necessarily one team in particular, but just the whole idea of, you know, the culture behind it. My buddy Zach Crawford hooked it up with a super professional neon sign. It really seals the deal. Equipped with ivy, faux brick, this little stereo station, dab station. This is a really cool neon cactus made by artist Wayne Stratman. Don't always plug this one in, but it's definitely a cool piece that I bought when I was drunk. Over here is just another drawing station. There's a lot of my ideas don't end up even being like full masterpieces. A lot of them just get roughed out in here and then turned into glass. What studio would be complete without a giant 5-foot portrait of our 16th president, Mr. Abraham Lincoln? He was a good man, so it's good to have him looking over the shoulder. Come on in. So this is kind of the mock-up office area in here. This is Banana Boy over here, one of my finer creations in the 2D world. Here's some new stuff I've been working on, these prototypes. Another piece I've been working on, Sid the Kid. Maybe you'll see him around. Got the kitchen area over here, equipped with all your mugs. And you know, no studio is complete without a refrigerator covered in stickers. Shout out if you see your name. And here's my little mock-up area. Again, like it's kind of like my tinker station. I do a lot of my pre and post work with all the glass. It's not just melting and sculpting and all that. There's a lot of drawing that goes into it. I've got my drawing table over here, canvases and whatnot. And then some of the post work that I do a lot of sandblasting, and I'm definitely stoked to have this awesome machine in my repertoire. So real quick about these teapots here, why I think of them as successful is that for a while I've always been intrigued by the teapot. I don't really drink a ton of tea, but I'm trying to get into it. I just think the teapot is a form that's, you know, been around, and again, and back to the Americana thing, a symbol of culture and is a good vessel for me to add my aesthetic to it, you know, the expressions and the gestures and the face and the character. As you can tell, they're all just a little bit different, but I just like the way they're held. They all have built-in units, like as in the function is all here. I look forward to getting them out into the world so I can focus on more elaborate pieces like Sid. I just feel like the challenge is always worth it. I'm excited to continue on with that and be here as much as I can. And down here is our shop dog in training. This is little Ruby. This is actually her first day in the studio. She didn't know she was gonna be on camera, but she's a sweetie. And over here is sort of my inspirational shelf. There's a lot of different souvenirs and totems and just different things that have inspired me over the years. Whether it's books, you know, I have a lot of Far Side books, which is Gary Larson is one of my favorites. And of any discipline, writing or art form. So here's a class portrait from a Penland class that we took with Martin Janicki. It's probably one of the best classes I've ever been a part of. We all got along really well and spent 8 weeks together blowing glass. And on the last week, we decided to go to Walmart and commemorate our experience with some class portraits. And like I said, a lot of just like Americana stuff. Like I like the G.I. Joe lunchbox and a lot of Waldo books, and some of these are my dad's old toys. Then in here is soft glass gallery. A lot of the work in here is made not in this studio, and studios actually throughout the country, but it's all furnace work glass, and this is just kind of the area that I like to dedicate to those pieces, just because a lot of them, as you can tell, are of some scale, and deserve the space. So this one in particular has been a project I've been working on for a while. It's the Pizza Boy. This is actually just part of the full installation. There's a whole chandelier that my friend KT Hancock made for me, and that's the ceilings aren't necessarily big enough for that. Let's go back out in the shop for a second. So I run a GTT Mirage. It's sort of the torch that I learned on, and just never really, I've used other torches, but this is the one that works for me and the kind of work that I like to make. Cascading glass blower, and they'll tell you that over the years of traveling and blowing glass, you collect a lot of tools in all shapes and sizes. Most of these are soft glass tools, or at least I originally got them in soft glass, but they transfer over to the Boro. Most of the tools that I use are very small little dental tools, actually, just to get in all the little tight spaces. I'm like, if you've given me a sticker over the years, chances are I put it up over here in time. So if you shout out if you see your sticker around. I try to put everybody's up that gives them to me. Hope the favor is returned. I've had people here from different countries before, people that, English is not their first language. So it's always helpful to have just a platform for communication, and drawing is a huge way of doing that. So again, I like to draw out everything that I make, especially with collaborations. This is the drawing for Patty and I's collaboration. It's just good to have a visual image of what we're both trying to accomplish here, and there's what size, what scale, all that, and this is sort of the end result. It always kind of takes on its own shape. Here's the final collaboration right there. Here's a torch that Sid the Kid won for me at Las Vegas. Pretty stoked about that. Big League Chew for the win. You can keep that. Painting with coil over here. Recognizable Monkey Man. Appropriate theme for the shop. This is Slug Boy. Was a piece made during my class at Pilchuck, which is like a very important school both for me and a lot of people. But yeah, it was really felt good to be able to give back and an educational aspect. So I definitely wanted to keep this piece just to commemorate that experience. Dugout Mural was made by my friend Lewis and his girlfriend Meg. They were in town a few years ago. They just love painting. Just give them any surface and they'll paint on it. And I asked them if they would paint the studio, and they didn't disappoint. I said Space Cadet baseball, and that's what they came up with. So that's essentially why I have this place, is just to have a base of operations and a think tank for myself. Just at least get here each day, and then good things come with it. So. All right, guys, thanks for coming out, hanging out at the Dugout. Appreciate your time. As they say, you don't gotta go home, but you can't stay here. Later.